What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about Tesla and SPY and QQQ and Nvda, many other tickers out there, very briefly, and then talk about what's happening with the debt ceilings. We have a very big amount of progress that was made and an agreement from Biden and McCarthy. Before I break anything down about all this information, before I give you guys a quick recap of Friday, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is any could be a free Tesla share. The offer ends in just 3 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so the market got in everything squeezed essentially on Friday. We saw Tesla pretty big, SPY, QQQ was exploding. NEO got a nice bounce as I predicted, and then Meta and Apple, Nvda, these things just all closed green. Amazon also did relatively well as I predicted, and the market got a very nice bounce. Now, you may think, why did this happen? Who was calling it? Well, I called all of this, right? On Thursday, I released this video. I said there's likely going to be a squeeze coming for Friday. And I was looking at this as I saw some very bullish technicals, and I thought we would likely get a debt ceiling deal very soon. I was calling it, and I told you guys that between Friday and Tuesday, expect the news to come out of an agreement between Biden and McCarthy. And then I turned very optimistic because I was perceiving and anticipating the market to squeeze hard with all the short positions on SPY and for the markets expiring. And then I talked about how I was leaning more into bullish direction. Now I gave you guys both possibilities just to be open-minded, right? Just to always prepare you. But I was leaning way more bullish, talking about the squeeze, right? The squeeze I was seeing. And then I also talked about how as soon as Friday, okay, as soon as Friday, we could see some kind of deal by Biden and McCarthy, if not very close to that. Now, I was right about everything, the market getting the squeeze, and I thought maybe the deal could be the thing that causes it, or at least a lot of progress to be made because of it. And instead, it didn't really happen on Friday. It happened on Saturday. So I was 1 day early, super close, extremely close. But besides that, I was right about everything, right? And am I always correct? No, I'm a human. I make mistakes. But in this instance, I just wanted to break this down and then talk about the debt ceiling. So what happened with the debt ceiling? We didn't get the deal for Friday, but we did get it for Saturday. Biden and McCarthy have reached a tentative U.S. debt ceiling deal. So the deal is finally here. I also have some quotes from McCarthy himself. Let me just read a couple of them for you. McCarthy said some very optimistic things as well. Once again, now a lot of people may say, oh, it's all BS here and there. And maybe that's true, which is why I would take a lot of this with a grain of salt. But they were saying optimistic things, both Biden and McCarthy, the White House, Democrats and Republicans. And, at the end of the day, they got the agreement. So it really shows that there could be some truth every now and then. I know a lot of people don't fully trust what these politicians have to say. But now let's just break down some things that McCarthy, some of the things McCarthy said this morning. Let me just find it on my phone because I don't have access to it on my laptop. So McCarthy came out and he said that more than 95% of House Republicans are very excited about the debt ceiling deal. He said that there is so much in the debt ceiling deal that is positive. And he finally said the debt ceiling agreement is a step in the right direction. It also includes pay-go restrictions for the U.S. administration. He said we're actually spending less than last year. He continued to say, I expect a majority of House Republicans to vote on the debt ceiling bill. And besides that, very positive stuff, right? He's going to brief Senate Republicans on the debt ceiling agreement later on Sunday. And progress continues to be made, basically. So, like I said, guys, good news for the market. Now, I didn't see many transcripts or news from Biden. I didn't really hear him say anything just yet. Maybe he's going to speak later on. I don't have the transcripts for him just yet, but obviously he's going to say optimistic things. And Biden did say he was very hopeful on, I think it was Friday, early Friday, he said that. So once again, both parties are saying hopeful stuff, especially McCarthy. I just wanted to share that with everyone. Now, with the deal, right here, other articles are talking about how is going to be moving. They move to lock down votes after striking the deal. And we're just going to be seeing how Congress reacts to this. But for now, a lot of progress has been made. We're not out of the water just yet. We still have more congressional members who have to go through it. But besides that, McCarthy and Biden have the agreement, and that is good for the markets. That's what I was predicting. I was anticipating it to come very soon. That's what happened. So why did the market squeeze the way it did? Many different reasons. The market makers were one of them. They used all of this news. First off, they knew this was going to happen, right? Someone always knows. They knew there was going to be a deal. They knew it. And I predicted the same thing. And then on top of that, the options chain gave it away too. Now, the options chain is not a guarantee that we're going to see some kind of squeeze if we see way too many puts being exposed. But it is an indicator. And if we get the right catalysts during a certain duration of time, it could be predictable. And that is how, or at least that's part of how I make these predictions. I look at the options chain, I look at the news, I look at the technicals, all of those things together. And if everything points in a similar direction, I tend to make these videos with high levels of confidence. And that's why, I tend to be correct. I'm not always right, of course. Unexpected things can happen, but I do tend to be correct the majority of the time, the large majority of the time in these predictions. So what happened to the market was the market makers, okay, they were looking at all of the data. They realized, oh, everyone's trying to short the markets. Let's destroy them. That's what they were thinking. Let's not pay out those premiums. Let's cause pain. So the market makers, they started buying up the markets. They knew there was so much going on. Many institutions knew there was a debt ceiling coming. They started buying in too. The smart money. They started pumping the markets too. And then the algos come out. The algorithms that are used for trading, they start buying and buying and buying, and the market squeezed as shorts started to cover, which is why we didn't really require super high volume. I mean, volume was relatively high, not extremely high though. And the market still pumped off of it, right? Not the highest of volume. And look at what happened, okay? 267,000 calls in the money, 200,000 out of the money. The majority of calls were in the money. For puts, 800 in the money, almost a million out of the money, squeezing shorts as usual. So the market makers are out for blood. They're relentless. And look at how this played out, exactly as I predicted. Now, I was anticipating that Tesla would get to at least 190. I said that in the video. If we broke 190, 195 could come. Tesla reached 198, which is the daily 200 EMA. If Tesla breaks, this is going to hit 200, 205, then 207 as resistance. We have to break the 200 though. It's very strong resistance, and we need to see a positive reaction to the debt ceiling first. We already pumped so much approaching the announcement, so we'll see how the market reacts from now. We need some confirmation first. But for now, we did get the move I predicted. On SPY, I predicted we would see, if it broke and held 415 to 416, then I predicted it would reach 418 to 420. And I said I was leaning towards that 420 mark. And that's exactly where we went, 420. Am I always correct? No, I make mistakes. I'm human, but I was correct on this move. And now, if we break and hold this 420 area, this resistance, well, 421 is going to have some resistance too, because on SPX, 4118, I believe, or around there, it has some resistance, and there's like a gap around there on the weekly. But anyways, this could pump a little bit more. If it continues to break like 421, it's going to fly to 425 to 426. There is room for that, but we have to break and hold this 421 zone. We need confirmation first to make that claim, of course. I will talk more about this later on, but for now, looking pretty good. If we reject off this major resistance, then it could make its way down. But for now, like I said, we'll wait and see. I will go into more details about these later on. I was predicting that the QQQ would break 340, and I said if we break 340, watch 345. Instead of 345, this thing went all the way up to 348, even higher than expected. I wasn't expecting it to be up like 2.5%. I was thinking maybe like around 1.6% or something like that. Still managed to break that. HYG, smart money, buying like crazy. They're all bullish. I told you NEO was going to bounce. What did NEO do? It bounced. Small bounce, though, nothing too significant. I was hoping we get closer to 8. We just came under it, 7.7. NASDAQ, I told you this thing could continue to fly up and break the highs we were making. And that is what happened to the NASDAQ, as predicted. I didn't really call out 13,000 on. I didn't give you guys any specific targets, but it did get the break, and as I predicted. SPX, I told you 4,200 is coming. Lo and behold, we reached 4,205. For the SQQQ, right? I told you guys there could be more downside. Same thing with the VIX. That is what happened. Despite the dollar breaking out, it's very interesting how this market is playing out. The dollar could just be a very early indicator. Maybe it's going to take a little bit longer for the dollar index to play out. Coinbase, excuse me, sorry guys. Coinbase was a little weaker than I predicted. I thought this thing would try to make its way towards 60. We pushed for that, then we got rejected. So weaker than what I expected. Apple, I told you it's going to break and hold 175, and I told you if we manage to do that, we have the potential to go to 177.5. For now, Apple came very close to reaching 177.5, but it did do what I predicted, breaking 175. For Nvidia, I'm anticipating some sideways price action between 370 and then the low 400s. So for now, I'm anticipating it to just range trade between there. Later on, there might be a pullback coming for Nvidia, just later on into like the medium-term future. Slight pullback, maybe after the debt ceiling. So yes, Nvidia could pump a little bit more into like the 400 area, maybe low 400s. But then once the market starts cooling off, there could be a better buying opportunity instead of buying like up here. It could cool off just a little bit once the market gets a correction by the June to July period. And then after June to July, once the correction comes, okay, Nvidia has the potential to get a really nice bounce and make its way later on during the year to the 400 plus area, going to 450, going to $500 plus. I think it has the potential to do so. It's going to take a while, but it does have more potential. Buying up here is risky because there could be downside coming later on. Even if it does pump a little bit from here, just be careful with it. And finally, I'm just going to talk about Meta before I end the video. I want to make this one kind of short. I have more things to discuss tomorrow. Meta, my prediction was Meta would break and hold 250. I told you guys, one of the charts I was talking about a lot was Meta. I was saying it has a nice setup. I was screaming it. Very beautiful setup, looked bullish to me. It's going to be on its way to 275 soon, later on over the next like month or so. But what I'm seeing from Meta is it's very, very strong. There's no sign of weakness. My prediction from Thursday was that for Friday, we would see this thing approach getting very close to 255. If we break it, 260 could come, right? It ended up going to 262. And slowly but surely, it looks to me like it's going to be approaching 270 soon to 275. Now, it could reject and cool off first before doing so, but for now, like I said, it looks strong. No confirmation of downside. So those are just some very, very brief updates on the markets. I know I didn't go into any major meticulous detail, but I want to just give you guys a quick update. I want the best for all of you, okay? So with the debt ceiling, don't be too bullish yet, okay? Yes, the market could explode more, yes, but let's wait for confirmation first, right? Let's see SPY break 421 first. Let's see Tesla retest 198 if it can. And if it does, we have to try to break and hold it. If we manage to break and hold 198, instead of just like, kissing it and getting rejected like that, let's break and hold 198. Let's get to 200. If it does that, it's going to fly to 205 to 207 quite quickly. Okay, but we need confirmation now because we have major resistance right here. Confirmation is key. Unbiased trading is key. And being able to manage risks is very important for success in this industry. Not financial advice, by the way. All right, guys. So anyways, let me just remind you that we have lots of unemployment data and employment data coming out this week, from JOLTS, job openings, to job quits. We also have the unemployment rate itself coming out, and then the initial jobless claims. Just lots of jobs numbers this week. And then for the next week, I believe, I think next week or the week after, then we have lots of CPI reports, PPI coming out, all very important. Then the FOMC meeting with the big guy, Jerome Powell, giving another speech. Right, so we have lots of updates coming out. Please be ready. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Should be able to release a video tomorrow, hopefully. It is Memorial Day. We'll see about that. But take care, everyone. Stay strong, watch your charts, and wait for confirmation. The market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.